Hi! So in last week's video, I criticized Elden Ring and suggested some things I'd do to improve it. So this week, I thought I'd be nice and talk about some things I really enjoy and just appreciate about the game. I try to find things that are exclusive to Elden Ring when compared to other Soulsborne games, because I could sit here talking about how cool the design or concept is, or how much I like the combat, but stuff like that is pretty much standard for Souls games. That says a lot about the quality of these games, but not a lot in a YouTube script. So yeah, I try to keep it Elden Ring exclusive. Anyway, let's get started. First on the list is magic and incantations. But other Souls games had magic and incantations too, and they were well, but in those games it sucked. What I appreciate about magic and incantations in Elden Ring is that they look good, they feel satisfying to use, and they are actually good. I'm so glad we moved on from little dart becomes bigger dart with intelligence, although we still have that, but it's just one out of a lot of options now. Sorcery now has swords, hammers, magma, barrages, bows, rains, comets, moons, beams, and so much more. It got a lot more variety and feels way less boring than in other Souls games. What got even more variety is faith in incantations. I already talked about this in my why faith is the coolest build in Elden Ring video, so I'll just go over this quickly. But for incantations it's basically the same as for sorceries. There are more, they are more diverse, and they are better. Difference is, Faith got the cooler shit. Dragons, giant fireballs, black flame and frenzied flame, just to name a few. But I'm not here to argue if Faith or sorcery is cooler. I'm here to say that I appreciate how both of these feel much better in Elden Ring than in previous Souls games. After seeing them in trailers and hearing them getting talked about a lot before release, I thought Ashes of War would be a much bigger part of this game than they turned out to be. I mean, they can be a big part of your Elden Ring experience, but only if you play a normal weapon, and I didn't even bother with that until several playthroughs in, when I actually wanted to experiment with Ashes of War. I was just more drawn to unique weapons overall. Still, Ashes of War are the next point on my little appreciation list here, because it is a very cool concept, which was just underused by me because of personal preference. They make these normal weapons a lot less boring and actually give an incentive to play them. They enable theory crafting for the most OP combinations out there, but they also enable funny meme builds. Also, it's nice that you don't have to lock yourself into an affinity when applying these. Overall, Ashes of War were a great idea to spice normal weapons up a bit. Unique weapons still superior though. But that leads me to my next point, which is the variety. By that, I especially mean the weapon variety, but armor sets and the already mentioned spells and incantations also offer more than ever. But talking about weapons again, there are so many weapons! 308 plus returning ones from older Souls games. That's insane. Then there's 31 different weapon types, so 31 different movesets plus unique movesets. There really should be something for everyone here. Admittedly, this is the point it is the least exclusive to Elden Ring. All the Souls games have a lot of weapons to choose from, but I still wanted to highlight this for Elden Ring. That again leads me to my next point, how easy it is to respec. I love Dark Souls 3 to death. I don't know, maybe it's nostalgia, but that game has a special place in my heart. But one thing about Dark Souls 3 is that switching your weapon and build mid-playthrough is so unnecessarily hard. All the upgrade materials are rarer and there are free pale tongues in that game if you don't play PvP, and you need those to respec. Luckily, FromSoft learned from this and put 18 larval tiers in the lands between. If you explore a little bit, you will already be able to respec several times. Or you can just go to Nocron once and be good on larval tiers until NG+7. Then there's the bell bearings, so you can buy every single smithing stone except the ancient dragon ones, and boom, in like 2 minutes you can have a new build. And with that variety I already talked about, you may want to actually do this several times, because there's just so much to experiment with. My last point is literally just about how big Elden Ring is. That's it. I love how huge this game is. Let me tell you a little story about my first playthrough here. When I reached Laneville for the first time, I was so sure that I was close to the end. Because I was at the base of the Erdtree, Melina already told me she thinks I'm gonna be Elden Lord, and I had already put so many hours in the game, the end had to be near. But I couldn't have been more wrong. You get refused from the Erdtree and suddenly Melina is talking about a new journey? I just played through the biggest journey of my life and now there's just a new one? After that, I was still expecting the final boss fight to happen very soon, but the game just went on and on and on and on. Now get this. In that playthrough, I missed Nokron and therefore the Lake of Rot and the Moonlight Altar, and I didn't even find the Consecrated Snowfield, which means I also never found the Haligtree or Mogwin Palace, so I missed out on like half the game and was still blown away by its size. Every single area in Elden Ring is huge, filled with secrets, dungeons, caves and overworld mini-boss encounters. I mean, Elden Ring already got a lot of praise for this, but I'm gonna highlight it too. This level of detail in a world of this size, that is what makes Elden Ring great. Now, maybe Elden Ring being so ambitious created problems like copy-paste bosses, because you know, they actually had to fill this enormous world, but I can look past that. The bosses are still fun to fight, you still have an incentive to explore because right around that corner might just be the next good item, and the world design is interesting enough to justify its scale. I'm just a sucker for big, immersive worlds I can lose myself in, and Elden Ring delivered exactly that. And that concludes my list. Let me know what you appreciate about Elden Ring in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, bye!